The first thing that makes you look weak, so instantly it's like a switch flips in her mind, is over-explaining yourself. You probably don't even realize you're doing it, but every time you justify your actions, defend your decisions, or clarify your intentions to a woman you're dating, you're slowly handing her your power. Men with genuine strength don't defend every move they make. They let their decisions stand without apology, without explanation, without seeking her understanding. But if you find yourself saying things like, "I didn't text because I was really busy, but I swear I was thinking about you," or "I didn't mean it like that, I promise I'm not that kind of guy," or "I was going to call, but I thought you might be sleeping, so I didn't want to bother you," what you're actually doing is handing her your spine on a silver platter. She didn't ask for the explanation, she didn't need the clarification, but now that you've given it, she sees something she can't unsee, a man who needs to explain himself. And deep in her psychology, that screams one thing: insecurity, guilt, approval seeking, weakness. Women aren't wired to respect that. Hypergamy, her instinctive drive to seek the strongest option available, operates like a bloodhound. It smells weakness before you even know you're leaking it. And once you've over-explained a few times, she starts questioning whether you're really as solid as you seemed in the beginning. The grounded man speaks once and lets his words stand. He doesn't repeat himself. He doesn't clarify unless absolutely necessary. He trusts that his presence speaks louder than his explanations. That's the difference between a man she respects and a man she starts to doubt, another instant attraction killer. The moment you try to convince her of your value. A man who tries to prove his worth is a man who hasn't embodied it. If you ever find yourself saying things like, "I'm not like other guys," or "I would never treat you the way he did," or "Just give me a chance and you'll see how good I am," you've already lost. She knows exactly what you're doing. You're pleading your case like a lawyer in a courtroom, hoping she'll give you the green light to her emotions, her time, her attraction. But here's the brutal truth. Attraction isn't a negotiation, it's primal, and it doesn't respond to arguments, it responds to energy, to presence, to emotional impact. The moment you try to sell yourself, you drop into the same category as every other man who needed her approval just to breathe in her presence. You become boring, predictable, safe, and in the female psyche, safe equals non-sexual. Convincing is what men do when they're not chosen naturally. And the tragic part, the more you try to convince, the deeper you dig your own grave. The man who commands attraction doesn't explain why he's valuable. He demonstrates it through how he moves, how he speaks, how he holds space. His value is felt, not argued. Now here's where it gets psychological, because the next weakness isn't about what you say, it's about how you respond when she tests you. And trust me, she's always testing. What I'm about to explain is the evaluation mechanism most men fail without even knowing they're being evaluated. One of the most destructive things that instantly reveals weakness is responding emotionally to her tests. Let me break this down. Women test constantly, unconsciously, relentlessly. She'll say something slightly disrespectful. She'll delay a reply. She'll cancel plans at the last minute. She'll give you mixed signals that make no logical sense. And what she's doing, whether she knows it or not, is checking if she can move you emotionally. Can she shift your center? Can she make you react? Can she destabilize your peace? The weak man takes the bait every time. He acts offended, hurt, defensive. He tries to correct her with logic. He asks, "Why would you do that?" Or, "I thought we had something real." But what he doesn't realize is that she's watching something specific. She's watching how deeply he's anchored. And the moment he loses composure, the moment he gets moody, demands an explanation, or seeks emotional reassurance, he fails the test. He just showed her that she can move him, that her behavior controls his emotional state. And once she knows that, she subconsciously knows something devastating. He's not the man she needs when life gets heavy. Hypergamy respects emotional control more than physical dominance. It wants to see if your masculinity survives under friction. The second it doesn't, you're done. The man who passes these tests doesn't react. He observes. He stays centered. He might even find it slightly amusing, because his peace isn't dependent on her behavior. That kind of stillness terrifies her in the best possible way. Let's talk about something subtle but powerful: eagerness. You might think showing her how much you want her is a good thing, that enthusiasm equals attraction, but women can sense the difference between genuine desire and desperation wearing a mask. If you're always the first to text, always available when she calls, constantly complimenting her looks, asking about her day with the energy of a golden retriever, you become predictable, and predictability breeds boredom. Boredom is the enemy of attraction, but it goes deeper than that. Your eagerness signals something specific. You're placing her above you. You're communicating that her time, her attention, her validation matters more than yours. And in a world driven by hypergamy, where women are wired to seek the highest value option, they will never obsess over a man they feel has no choice but to pursue them. They want to choose a man who could have any woman, a man who moves with such control and detachment that even his attention feels like a prize. The moment she senses you're too eager, she stops seeing you as a mystery and starts seeing you as a utility, something available, something guaranteed, something she doesn't have to earn, and what doesn't have to be earned has no value. The man who intrigues her is the man who responds when he's ready, not when he's desperate. The man who has a life so full that she has to earn a place in it. That's not playing games, that's having genuine standards. Now for one of the deadliest weaknesses that slips under most men's radar. This one seems like emotional maturity, but it's actually a power transfer that she'll never forget and never forgive. Here's what happens when you need her to make you feel okay. When a woman starts acting distant, confusing, hot and cold, most men do the worst possible thing. They start seeking answers. They want to talk. They want transparency. They want to understand what went wrong. Can we just talk about where we stand? Did I do something wrong? Just tell me. I don't understand why you're being like this. But here's the brutal truth. The moment you start chasing answers from her, you're telling her that she's the one with the power. You flip the entire dynamic. You're asking her to emotionally regulate you, to give you peace, to provide the clarity you can't generate for yourself. And once she sees that, she will never forget it. Women respect men who can walk away without closure. Men who can remain unbothered in the face of confusion and ambiguity. Why? Because it signals something rare and powerful, that you're in control of your inner world, that you're not depending on her for emotional stability, that your peace exists independent of her behavior. That's magnetic. That's what drives her mad with curiosity. But if you're like most men, venting, questioning, demanding emotional clarity, you become her emotional subordinate and you lose her forever. The strong man doesn't chase understanding. He observes patterns, makes decisions, and moves accordingly. His clarity comes from within, not from her. This one destroys countless men in relationships. When she's upset, moody, silent, having a bad day, you instantly shift into rescuer mode. You ask what's wrong. You offer solutions. You try to cheer her up. You hover around her emotional state like her happiness is your responsibility. And while your intentions might be noble, what you're actually revealing is something that kills attraction. You're showing her that her emotional state controls your sense of peace. You can't feel okay until she feels okay. And what does that communicate? It shifts you from masculine to maternal. You become the caretaker, the fixer, the safe therapist, but not the man who commands her desire. Women aren't attracted to men who smother their feelings or walk on eggshells around their moods. They're drawn to men who hold their ground, who allow her space to feel without trying to fix everything. You don't solve her emotions. You become the anchor in the storm. You acknowledge, you stay present, but you don't crumble. Though you don't lose yourself in her chaos. That's what real masculine strength looks like. The man who can hold space without absorbing her storm, that man becomes irreplaceable. Here's where most men get completely confused. They think displaying value means showing off what they have, but what I'm about to explain is why flaunting your success actually communicates the opposite of what you intend, and triggers her hypergamy in a way you don't want. This one is tricky because most men think it works. Showing her your car, mentioning your job title, talking about your gym gains, your apartment, your connections. You think you're displaying value, building attraction, giving her reasons to want you. But the moment you start using external things to make her want you, What you're secretly communicating is, I don't believe I am enough. She senses it immediately. Women are masters at detecting authenticity, and when you flex your watch, your achievements, your social circle, she might smile politely, but deep inside she knows it's compensation. Real value doesn't need to be advertised, it radiates. The men who actually own their power don't announce it. They're comfortable in silence, they let curiosity build naturally, and when they speak, it's to express, not to impress. Once you rely on flash, you kill the mystery. And when there's no mystery, there's no magnetism. She might stick around for what she can extract, but never for who you are. The attractive man lets his presence do the talking. His groundedness, his certainty, his calm, those can't be bought. And that's exactly why they're irresistible. If your eyes light up every time she enters the room, if you tell her she's gorgeous 10 times a day, if you act like she's doing you a favor just by existing, she loses respect for you almost instantly. You've put her on a pedestal, and what happens to things on pedestals? They get worshipped, not desired. Here's the truth women won't tell you. They don't want to be worshipped. They want to earn your admiration. When a man treats her beauty as something rare and special, he becomes one of the many, another admirer in the crowd. But when a man notices her beauty and stays centered, calm, unimpressed, grounded, she starts questioning something. Why haven't I caught his full attention? What does he see as valuable if not my looks? That tension, that resistance. That's what drives attraction. A man who doesn't melt under beauty is the man she finds mysterious, the man she wants to understand, because she knows something instinctively. A man who's unaffected by her looks is a man who has options, a man who has standards beyond the physical, and that makes him the prize. This next one might sting because it goes against everything you've been told about being vulnerable and open, but timing is everything, and what modern culture praises as emotional intelligence is often what destroys attraction in its earlier stages. Modern dating culture praises vulnerability, openness, emotional honesty, but in the early stages of attraction, it's often completely misapplied. When you start telling her your life story, your wounds, your fears, your deepest insecurities within the first few weeks, you think you're building connection, but her subconscious logs a different message entirely. He wants me to save him. And women don't want to mother the men they date. They want to submit to his groundedness, his stability, his direction. Being emotionally open isn't the problem, the timing is. Early vulnerability tells her you're either lonely, needy, or emotionally unstable, that you're hoping to bond through trauma rather than confidence. The strongest men reveal themselves in layers, slowly, calmly, only after she's earned access to that depth. That restraint is what creates obsession, because what's guarded becomes valuable, what's earned becomes treasured, but what's given away too freely, that creates pity, and attraction doesn't survive pity. This one starts subtle. You ask where she wants to eat, what she wants to do, how she feels about every move you make. You think you're being considerate, inclusive, respectful, but to her it reads as something very different. Indecisive, uncertain, leaderless. You've placed the weight of direction onto her shoulders, and here's the raw truth, she doesn't want it. She might test you by offering suggestions. She might say she wants input, but deep down, she craves a man who knows what he wants. A man who says, I made reservations at 8, wear something you love. Not, I don't know, what do you feel like doing? Is Italian okay, or would you rather do something else? When you make her the compass, she feels ungrounded, uncertain, like she's dating someone who doesn't know his own direction. Women crave leadership. Not control, clarity. And once you start outsourcing your decisions to her approval, she begins losing the very attraction she once felt. Lead with certainty, she'll follow. Lead with hesitation, she'll leave. Now let me expose a weakness that seems like relationship maturity, but actually destroys the tension that keeps her attracted. This is the question that signals you've already lost, and most men ask it way too early. The second you ask, what are we? Or, do you see this going somewhere? You've already surrendered your frame. You've handed over the leadership role. You're seeking reassurance from someone who should be seeking it from you. In the hypergamous lens, the man who waits to be chosen is never the one she actually chooses. The more you try to define the relationship, the more she questions whether she even wants one. Why? Because women fall in love through uncertainty, through tension, through the chase. When you sit back, live your life, and let her wonder, she brings up the future. She starts nesting. She starts craving structure. But when you get anxious and try to lock her down with words instead of energy, she starts pulling away. Women don't want men who beg to be kept. They want men who are so certain of their own value that being chosen by them feels like a privilege. Let her be the one to ask where things are going. That's when you know the power has shifted in the right direction. This one destroys more men than any other. You meet her, you fall for her, and suddenly everything in your life starts orbiting around her. Your workouts change, your weekends change, your goals get modified, your friends see you less. You lose yourself trying to keep her, and in doing so you kill the very thing that attracted her in the first place, because the man she fell for had a life, had a mission, had a spine. Now you've become an emotional chameleon, shifting colors based on her mood, molding yourself around her preferences. She didn't ask to be your purpose, she wanted to witness your purpose. When you send to her, she feels the weight of it. She feels smothered, and she starts to panic. Because now your happiness depends entirely on her behavior, and no woman wants that burden. Keep your edge, keep your direction, keep your identity intact. Make her a chapter in your story, not the title of your book. Let me close with the most damaging weakness of all. This is the one that underlies everything else, the fundamental error that makes every other mistake possible. If you fix this, everything else falls into place. Perhaps the most destructive weakness is this: believing she's the prize and you're the one who needs to win her. When you operate from that frame, everything becomes distorted. You compliment too much, you're too available, you explain yourself, you seek her approval, you adjust yourself to fit her preferences, all because you've placed her above you in the value hierarchy. But here's the brutal truth that will change everything. Women don't want to be worshipped. They want to earn your interest. They want to prove their value to you. They want to know they're good enough for someone of substance. When you put her above you, she loses respect. Because what woman wants a man who sees himself as lesser? The shift you need to make is fundamental. You are the mountain, not the climber. Let her climb. Let her wonder if she's enough. Let her qualify herself to you. That's not arrogance. That's balance. That's understanding how attraction actually works. When you stop being impressed by beauty alone and start requiring character, integrity, and effort, everything changes. She stops seeing you as an admirer. She starts seeing you as a standard, and that's the man she'll never forget. So here's what it comes down to. Every weakness I've described today has one thing in common. They all stem from not knowing your own value, from seeking external validation to feel complete, from placing her opinion of you above your opinion of yourself. When you over-explain, you're seeking approval. When you react to tests, you're showing emotional dependence. When you chase clarity, you're outsourcing your peace. When you center yourself around her, you're abandoning your identity. But when you know who you are, when your sense of worth is anchored in your own standards, your own progress, your own purpose, none of these weaknesses survive. You don't over-explain because you don't need her to understand. You don't react because her behavior doesn't control your state. You don't chase because your peace exists, independent of her. You don't worship because you know you're the prize. That's the man she's looking for. The man hypergamy can't shake. The man who doesn't leak weakness because there's no weakness to leak. Become that man, not through tactics, through identity, and watch everything change.